Now, a number of major banks have been hit by online issues this morning, leaving customers without access to their funds on payday.
App to online, card to cash. For Barclays customers, this is turning into a weekend of financial pain. Problems accessing banking services first began on Friday.
Start with the major breaking news of the day. Here in the UK, Heathrow Airport has announced it will be closed until midnight local time tonight. This after experiencing a major power outage as a result of a fire at a nearby electrical substation.
Problems first emerged over the Easter weekend, with customers reporting difficulty in getting hold of click and collect orders in stores. On Tuesday, M&S confirmed it was facing a cyber incident and customers were unable to make contactless payments or use gift cards, leading to this afternoon's decision to suspend online orders entirely.
Large parts of Spain and Portugal have been hit by a power outage. Footage from Madrid shows chaotic scenes as the traffic lights stop working. The Spanish rail company says the outage is at a national level and that trains are stopped and no departures are taking place. Local radio is reporting that parts of Madrid underground are being evacuated. Well, the Spanish power grid operator Red Eléctrica said it was working with the energy companies to try to restore power. We're also hearing reports from Reuters that parts of France briefly lost power following the outages that have also been reported in Portugal as well. The Spanish government, we're hearing, has convened a crisis meeting.
Welcome back to another episode of the Hijra channel. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May peace be upon you all. Chapter 18 of the Holy Quran, namely Surah Al-Kahf, teaches us that there will come a point in time in the historical process where mankind will have to flee and run away from the city and retreat to the remote countryside in order to live in harmony with nature. Today we refer to this as off-grid. And this surah provides multiple signs and clues for us to look out for if we are to save ourselves from the deadly grip of the Antichrist and his false system. For example, he created a supply chain for manufactured food in comparison to someone who grows their own food. The supply chain can come to a halt like it did in 2020, and suddenly you find you can no longer get toilet paper from the supermarket. How about the power grid, which supplies us with electricity and gas? Can it malfunction? Can it fail? Or can it be turned off at source? Or can it become the victim of a cyber attack? From all the signs mentioned in Surah Al-Kahf, it is evident without doubt that the ultimate trial will be that of faith. You'll either have it or you won't. The first story about the companions of the cave, also referred to as the seven sleepers of the cave, shows the terrible situation in which they are left with no choice but to challenge the status quo of a system of man-made laws and man-made everything, manufactured in a way to entrap most of mankind, made to look artificially beautiful from the outside, to lure people away from the natural countryside, to concentrate and contain them within megacities. The true believer will feel suffocated and claustrophobic in such a densely populated environment. He will identify beauty with the natural landscape, the countryside, the mountains, the trees and the flowers, not high-rise buildings or glittering shopping centers. Ask yourself this one question: do you feel at peace when you venture out to the countryside or when you are stuck in the city traffic? Do you feel internal happiness when you are in the city or when you go far away to somewhere peaceful and quiet? The secret to this peace and happiness is that you remove yourself from the artificial city where the pollution and radiation is harming nature, and put yourself out of the electronic range, far away from cell phone towers. Remember one thing: we humans are a part of nature. So how did we get into the state which is now upon us, where we must think like the companions of the cave? Man-made laws and a system which has programmed us to become widely dependent upon it and not seek to question or challenge it for the sake of our own well-being. You are so dependent upon this system that if tomorrow the supermarkets decide to close their doors, the banking system collapses, the power grid is turned off, you'll have no money, no food, no gas, no electricity. What are you going to do? What will you do if suddenly the system that you depended upon so much is no longer there to serve you? It is evident that 99% of the world haven't even considered or contemplated such a scenario. Most people will be more worried about losing their internet connection because they cannot survive without their mobile phones. Yet the poor farmer who is off-grid, maintaining his small garden of fruit and vegetable, is far more content and at peace than we are. You know why that is? He is dependent upon his Lord, whereas you and I are dependent upon the system. Yet we've never questioned what system, whose system, who was the architect or mastermind behind it. Look at the stories of Surah Kahf chapter 18 in reverse order, and you realize that first Gog and Magog, who are powerful human beings, will come out of the barrier built between the pass named the Darial Gorge in the Caucasus Mountains and spread out all over the world with their facade and corruption. And they will corrupt the natural system ordained by the Lord. That's the story of Zulkarnain, the great traveler. Once they have taken control of the world through their power, which no one can destroy but Allah Almighty Himself, they will then destroy ancient knowledge and replace it with a new education system and artificial intelligence, thereby eradicating wisdom from the minds and hearts of the masses. Then it will be easier for Satan to make us forget of our real purpose of being here upon this earth, and our life will be spent running after the dunya, to the point where life becomes extremely tiresome. That's the story of Moses and Khidr alayhi salam. Once true knowledge is removed and history is rewritten with a false narrative, it will become much easier to program all future generations into believing a new false and fake system, a new way of life, and success now lies with what degree I have and how much money I have in the bank account. No longer am I dependent upon Allah Almighty. I depend upon the system to provide for me. The system has taught me well from the age of 4 years that success derives from productivity. And productivity means that I start running from the age of 4 until I retire at a retirement age defined by the system. It makes me believe that I put the food on the table, not Allah Almighty. Today, you need to decide whether on-grid living is beneficial for you or whether off-grid is indeed better for you. You need to decide if now is the time to take action in the way the companions of the cave did, when they stood up and declared, "No way will we worship anyone else other than the one Lord Almighty," and they retreated to the cave. On the other hand, you could remain part of a system which was manufactured and designed in a way to make it appear it is serving you, albeit on their terms and conditions, yet in reality it has entrapped and enslaved you to the point where it is you serving the system, not the other way around. A system, we say, was created by none other than Dajjal, the Antichrist himself, and you thereby run the risk of serving him and worshipping him. That is the biggest deception of all time. Only a true believer would be able to identify it. Finally, when the companions of the cave eventually woke up from their deep sleep of 300 solar years, add 9 equaling 309 lunar years, you do know why the Lord mentions both solar and lunar, don't you? To highlight that Dajjal's system will ensure 99% of mankind follow the solar, otherwise known as a Gregorian calendar initiated by a pope from Rome. Whilst asleep, the mention of their bodies moving with the movement of the sun highlights how the energy of the sun is so vital for human beings to survive, and also hinting at off-grid living with solar energy. And today, the United Kingdom wants to block the sun. When they woke up, the mention of the silver coin, which held its value for 309 years, is to highlight real money against Dajjal's fake paper and electronic money. During their conversation, the companions of the cave mentioned food which is of a purest nature, in comparison to Dajjal's contaminated and corrupted genetically modified food. All these signs are telling you that when all things real are placed with fake, it's time to flee, because Dajjal the Antichrist is here to take your faith. There are many people in the West who have left the cities to go off-grid. They can see what is coming. You can check them out on YouTube by typing in preppers or off-grid living. At some point, the Antichrist will start dismantling the very system he created to entrap the world. Now it's almost time to shut down this system and to seal the fate of 99% of humanity. Blackouts, power outages, and cyber attacks on supermarkets, empty shelves, banking glitches, no food, no money, it's all becoming the norm, not by accident but by design. And that is the price you pay for accepting Dajjal's heaven on this earth, which in reality will be hell. 99% of us have become digital entities owned by corporations due to being void of internal spirituality. My brothers and sisters, that is indeed the price that we pay for abandoning Allah Almighty by being part of the very system created by the Antichrist. Instead of fleeing from him, 99% of people are running towards him because of his mountain of bread and glamorous heaven. May Allah Almighty protect us from the fitna, the trials and tribulations of Dajjal, the Antichrist. Until next time, may peace and blessings be upon you all.